Right, I've had a Greggs, I've got my pre-stained t-shirt on, and that means it's time to start work on this. This is my 2002 manual 330i Touring that I picked up actually a couple of months ago now, probably near enough 3 months ago. And if you haven't seen the other videos that I've made on it so far, go and check them out. I've not actually edited them yet, so they could be shite, but we'll see. So it's basically been sitting here for the past couple of months while I've been saving up and doing loads of research to try and find out the best parts I need, what I need to change and stuff like that. So now I've got a load of parts and we're going to start work on it today. In the last video I basically went through everything that I found that is wrong with the car, and there could be more that we find today when I take the intake manifold off, because that's what we're doing. We're basically doing the CCV, vacuum hoses and anything that's under the intake manifold. So I've bought the coolant pipes that run along the engine that are under the intake manifold, so we're going to be doing them as well today. Valve cover gasket and Vanos all, the Vanos doesn't need doing, it's not showing signs of problems, but I'm going to do it anyway. And along with that the valve cover gasket is going to get done, but that's not going to be today. Today is going to be under the intake manifold and sort of bits around there. But yeah, for the past couple of months it's just been sat leaking, and I did start it the other day just to make sure it still works, and it does, so that's good. Okay, so to start with we need to remove all the airbox and all this stuff. So for these it's just a simple pull out the anyway, you just pull the pin out and then that thing should come out like that, and then just pull out of there. Okay, now I'm going to remove this like housing thingy for the cabin air filter. So you just turn them little things 90 degrees and then that pulls out, and there's your filter. Then we have 4 T30s at the back, and then that just lifts up out of there like that. And now we have full access to the rear of the engine. Engine covers, let's get them off. They just have 10 mils here, here and here. I've already had these off and I didn't put the rear ones back on, so just got these two here. The ones on this cover are actually bolts and the ones on this cover are nuts. Two 10mm bolts for the airbox. Unplug them off. Now these clamps here for the boots, the air intake boots, you see they've got a slot for a flat-headed screwdriver. Now obviously most people would just go straight in with a flat-headed, but that's annoying and fiddly, and that is actually a bolt head type shape as well, which is 6mm, so it's much easier to just get a 6mm bolt and undo it like that, and Bob's your uncle. So you can either undo it there and keep the MAF attached to the box, or you can actually, I'll show you now because we pulled this out, or you could just undo these clips here, which, come on, focus, damn it. You could just undo these clips here and take the MAF out. Oh, that should be attached to the airbox as well. Don't think mine was, but there you go. Let's take apart these boots next. I bought some of this silicone spray. This is going to help me get all these rubber bits off, because yes, I did watch a hell of a lot of 50s kid videos before I started this. That's done nothing. Maybe I didn't spray enough. There you go, you bastard. And then we have another connection for the two boots here. There are two intake boots, an upper, which is this one I got my hand on, and a lower, which is the one it's attached to, believe it or not. So there's your upper intake boot. Now this is apparently a very common place for air leaks, so you want to check in, well, that's come off. You want to check in between all the crevices and check for cracks. Now I've got service history with this that suggests these have both been changed at some point in their time, and they look good, which is why I haven't bought any new ones. You can also crack around this bit as well, which looks good to me, so there you go. Now I'm actually going to get this out of the way as well. This is just like a firewall thingy. Just got twisty stuff. One there, one at the back. Oh, there's a one down there. Okay, before I do that, I'm going to take the deezer off so I can get my hand down. Oh no, I don't. Just careful you don't lose them bits. Which I might have just done. Oh no, it's there. Okay, so deezer valve, there's an electrical connector here. If you put your finger down in that gap, you'll feel a little metal thing that you can push in that way. And then that'll just pop off. It's that, basically. So T40's for the deezer valve. And there's another one underneath, right in the middle here. Now mine's come out very easily because this seal here, which is another commonplace for vacuum leaks, seems fairly flat and worn, and I've bought another one to go around there because in my service history my deezer valve was rebuilt recently, so I'm not going to do it again. I mean, that seems okay to me. So there you go, that's the deezer out. Okay, so this is the lower intake boot, and there's a little bit that comes off here which connects to the idle control valve. There's another little clip on it. You can use your 6mm thingy on. There you go. Next we can get the idle control valve out, which has two T40s. The idle control valve actually is connected to the electrical box as well. So the electrical box has some 10mm on it. Oh yeah, so the other one is there. Sorry, I've done this in the wrong order. So basically you want to take the electrical box off first because it connects to the idle control valve. Here we have an idle control valve, which should shake like that when you shake it. So next I'm going to get the oil dipstick tube out of the way, which is a 14mm bolt, and I'm having to use this swivel socket to get to it. It's this bolt right at the bottom here, if you can see that. It's quite easy to spot. Do you know what? I've just decided I'm going to leave that where it is until I've got the manifold off, because there's a pipe that goes onto it and I can't be arsed trying to get it off underneath all this stuff. Now the last bolt for this wiring box, which I couldn't find before, is actually just underneath the throttle body here. So you'll feel the 4 bolts of the throttle body, which on each corner of it, and then there's another one slightly to the left. It's actually a nut. There's another connector here, under here, that goes to the wiring box. Oh, well, I'll pull the actual thing off. That's like some ventilation thing, but we'll pull that wire off there. I'm going to take the throttle body off now, I think, which has 4 10mm bolts pretty much on each corner of it. Just be careful you don't press the flapping because that can damage it apparently. Aha. There is a throttle body. I wonder if that's our issue actually, but jeez, that's filthy. We'll get to cleaning that later. I've got some throttle body cleaner. But basically what you don't want to do is be pressing this flap like I was with the deezer valve flap, because that can damage all the gearing inside here. Because apparently you can't take this apart to fix it if you break that new throttle body, so be careful. I've got a new gasket for this as well. So now we've got rid of pretty much everything on this side of the intake manifold, and like underneath, not completely got rid of everything underneath it, but most of it. I'm going to get rid of the stuff on top, so I'm going to start by taking off this stuff, undo that big ass nut. Make sure you disconnected your battery before you do that one. That's a 19mm nut. So what I'm going to do now is try and take the fuel rail off, and then we're pretty much ready to pull the manifold off. So I'm going to do this little thing here, which is a little valve to release the pressure in the fuel rail. So get yourself some cloths or something because it might piss out. Little screwdriver. Oh, nice. Love the smell of petrol. Now we have a load of clips along this plastic thing and a couple of electrical connectors. So there's one here which connects to the Vanos. Haha. Got ya. There's another one here as well. Here we have, I'm going to try using a pick for this, some little metal things, little clips, which you need to try and take off. Who bloody designed this? Oh god, that sounded bad. I'm going to show you these clips up close because they are a pain in the arse. Getting that back one is horrendous. So it's these little metal bits that go around the edge, and the best way I found to do it was use a pick and get in there like that and pull it off and down. I found if you get one side out like that, then it's just about manageable to actually get out. So now holding the fuel rail on, we have 4 10mm bolts. Right then, there's going to be fuel in here, so get your cloths again. I don't know where to shove these. Should be one there. And one down there. Oh, fucking hell. It's about 20 quid gone there. Now I've got the fuel rail off. The pipe. The videos I've seen anyway say you need to disconnect it, but you don't. I think you'd be able to take the intake off without disconnecting this. So I'm going to leave it where it is because I can't get my end down. There's a quick connector down at the back and I can't get to it, so what we're going to do is take it off as it is. Now before I take the manifold off, I'm going to hoover because look at all the shit down there. Okay, so now we're almost ready to take the manifold off, but first I think I might take off some of these CCV pipes. So that's one of them there. I mean, look how corroded. I think the actual pipe's okay to be fair, but the foam around it is just all cracked and shite. I'll take that one off. That goes down to the actual oil separation thingy-majobby, which you can actually see if you can see it under there now. That's it right there. So yeah, let's try doing that. Now because I'm going to be replacing these anyway, I'm not actually too bothered about them, so I'm just going to break them off. Yeah. And this is why we're replacing the CCV system. That shouldn't have so much. Oh, and there you go. It's literally that brittle that it just breaks. I suspect this is the original CCV system, so yeah, that's why we're replacing it. Look at this in here. Ugh. My god. Oh. Nice. Good soup. Right, so now we're finally ready to take the intake manifold off. Pretty much anyway. There's a couple of things that might be in the way. There's this cable which you could thread through, but I'm going to try and do that as it comes off. I did just try a couple of these bolts by hand and they're fine really, so I'm just going to gut it with the gun. There's one more bolt, which is right the way. That one there. Jesus. Right, so on the bottom of the CCV, I forgot to disconnect. There we go. That connection there at the bottom needs to come off. This wire that I was talking about just then, is, I think it's a vacuum line, has one of these connectors on here, which is not easy to get off, but if you pull that thing out, mine was already out to be fair, I think it's supposed to be locked when it's in, like that. But if you just use brute force and pull that out of there, then that's free, and hopefully now we'll be able to take the manifold off. Right, so you do need to disconnect the fuel rail. So you can see that quick connector at the back. That needs to come out. Push the blue bit in, I'm guessing. And that fuel rail comes out. So obviously fuel in it. Right, we're pretty much there. Oh, there's one thing I was getting confused at. So this line here, the video that I've watched, he's just got a screw clamp on here. Whereas I think that's possibly the factory one. So I'm going to have to remove that to actually get the manifold off, and I'm pretty sure that's the last thing holding us on. There you go. Right, I'm at the back of the intake manifold now. More things I forgot to undo. Can you see them wires there with a zip tie around? That's what I need to get off now. Is that it? Oh my god. Look at that. Filthy. This here is what was connected to the bottom of the CCV thing, and that runs to the connect to the dipstick tube. Let's have a look at our intake manifold then. So that's the pipe. That pipe actually just broke off when I put too much pressure on it. That was the one that, so that was on there, and that ran across there like that. We had a look at this pipe before that broke off. This is all part of the CCV system. So this is the oil separator part. See, it's held on there by some Torx bolts. I think I'll take that off in a second. That rubber grommet thingy for the throttle body is kind of known to go, but I don't really know how you get that in or out. Now I was thinking of completely stripping this down, giving it a right wash out, and I'm still thinking that I'll just need to get some of these clips here to reattach this hose. I've got some new gaskets for these because they don't look too bad, and they're still kind of rubbery. They're not that hard, but I wonder if the oil around here, because there's like fresh oil around the edge of the where the manifold seals are, right there. So I don't know if that's where that's come from. I mean, to be fair, the valve cover and the oil filter housing gasket are definitely leaking, so it could be that. Now, if we look down here, there's a plethora of substances. Oh my days, look at that sludge. Nice. Right, let's get this CCV off here then. I mean, we saw that before, didn't we? Right, you're going to need to keep this little cap to go on the new CCV. The rest of it is all knackered. It's so brittle. Wow. Look at that. Mustard. Oh man, that's rank. Let's have a look at our fuel injectors actually. Now that's got a lot of build up around the edge, but that doesn't actually go into the cylinder. The end bit, I think that's got shit on from me to be honest, but the end of it actually looks fairly clean, so we'll be reusing them. I mean, not that I was planning to change them anyway, but I think I'll just give the outsides of them a clean up. that is the last bracket and thing from the intake manifold. Only thing left is this super brittle line. I don't actually know where that went. I'll have a look in a sec. I've also got that stopper. Gonna need to get a new one because that's got a crack in it. Right, so this is where we stand at the end of today's work. We've got the intake manifold off and I've given it a full-on clean inside and out. So if you look at it, it should be spotless in there basically. Use the jet wash on it and everything, and I've made sure it's completely dry with a hairdryer. So we're all nice and clean in there, ready for new gaskets, and I can assemble it all again tomorrow. I think I might just wire wheel them and give them a spray of black paint as well, make it nice and fresh. Cleaned the injectors. I also gave the throttle body a quick clean. Look at that, nice and shiny now. That was all gunked up and like orangey black before, so that's all nice. Now you remember when I took the manifold off, you see in there was like metal shaving. What I thought was metal shavings, it was just shiny stuff, and I instantly thought the worst, but you can still see them a bit. Okay, you can still see them a bit, and just before I hoovered out there, it looks to be a bit of shit in there. And I think they're the valves, aren't they? And it still looks like there's some sort of metal shavings or something in there. I posted the picture in the E46 group, and they said basically it can just be bits of carbon that look shiny because they're covered in oil. So I'm going to get some compressed air and give that a blast out, and that'll be alright. I'll just bot the manifold back up and send it. So the next day what we're basically going to do is try and clean everything in here, because if you look here, there is a manner of all gunk and black oily stuff in there, and then we can get on with replacing parts, because I've got new water hoses for these. This hose here is alongside the engine's water hose, so is that one, and I've got a new Vanos oil line here. So I'm basically going to try and do as many in there jobs as we can in the next video. I think that'll be in the next video anyway. But yeah, I've had a good field day cleaning up, and I think that'll do. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you've maybe learned something with me fumbling my way along with this project, kind of learning things as we go, and from me watching YouTube videos myself. Please make sure you subscribe, leave a comment if you've got any advice for me, or if I'm doing something wrong that's going to cause me some problems. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. You can see the absolute state of that engine mount down there. But yeah, that's definitely gone. Don't even know what I'm going to do to get all that off. Tissues and shit. You can see the plastic bit that broke off the tube and is still there.